Hello, Grill fam, and welcome to this edition of The Hill with April Ryan. Former President Donald Trump is calling on his campaign supporters to protest attempts by prosecutors to hold the former president accountable. It's all about the alleged campaign finance violations where Trump attorney Michael Cohen paid $130,000 to porn star Stormy Daniels in a payoff scheme to hide Trump's extramarital affair. Former kingmaker Karl Rove says an indictment of the 45th president makes Trump a martyr, something Rove does not want. On a side note, as Trump works to rile up his base like he did on January 6th, the Secret Service is bound by law to protect the former president. TheGrio was first to ask the White House for an update on the Shanquella Robinson case. She was killed while vacationing in Mexico in October of last year with a group. She was traveling with a group of women, and video shows her being beaten to death. Attorneys for Robinson's family sent a letter to the White House looking to have the suspects extradited back to Mexico to face charges or shift jurisdiction to the United States to take the suspect into custody. TheGrio talked exclusively to Tamika Mallory, an activist who is concerned about this case.
Therefore, the family was very, very concerned, anxious, as anyone would be, and they asked their attorneys to go and be on a fact-finding mission. So Attorney Shankwell Robinson did that. And as she spoke with the authorities there, they were very clear. They said, we would like to have her extradited to Mexico, and we have already submitted all the paperwork necessary. If the U.S. government does not want to extradite, we are willing to turn over the case so that they can prosecute in America.
An assessment of Black voters' attitudes after the 2022 midterm elections shows several issues concern Black voters when it comes to candidates obtaining their votes. Latasha Brown of the Black Voters Fund says the economy and race are some of the top items on the minds of those polled in the study.
So what we saw, I think, came out loud and clear in over a series of questions in this survey is that Black voters, number one, feel like they should be listened to greater, that one, they want to see candidates and political parties actually address their issues, not talk around the issues or not skirt over the issues. And three, there was a need and a desire to actually have some fundamental change, that no longer did you see or do you see the same kind of history of party loyalty? As younger voters, they've shifted that at the end of the day, I often say it's like the Janet Jackson principle. People want to know, what have you done for me lately?
Speaking of presidential campaigns, Democrat Marianne Williamson is running for president again. She still stands firm on her call for reparations for the descendants of African slaves in this nation. She told TheGrio exclusively.
HR 40 came from an old friend of mine, the now deceased John Conyers, Representative John Conyers from Detroit. John Conyers would be the first one to raise his eyes. That was then and this is now. To be honest, we don't need another study. We know. The facts are in. We don't need a more, this is a way to just kick something down the road at this point. We really don't need another study about the effects of slavery on the last 150 years of our society. It's time to actually begin to do something about it.
Keisha Lance Bottoms is leaving the White House after extending her stay several times as head of the Office of Public Engagement. She was initially expected to leave after the midterms last year. However, next Tuesday is her last day at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. She's going home and will take some time to figure out what's next. Meanwhile, she says she remains a supporter of President Biden and the Democratic mission for this country.
We knew the work was being done. It's being done all day, every day. But I really felt that we could tell the story of what the administration was doing, bring people in, hear more from regular folk from different parts of the country, that we really would begin to see a difference. And as I sit here today, I think those poll numbers are somewhere between 6 and 8 points higher. As you know, April, I was only supposed to stay through November. I agreed to
the midterm elections.
Elections. I was asked to extend several times. And it's time for me to get back to my family.
And lastly, for Women's History Month, Cora Masters Berry, the former First Lady of Washington, D.C., and the widow of the forever Mayor Marion Barry, is continuing her push for equality and promoting Black history. Today, she's continuing plays with adaptations of Black history makers, in the wake of efforts to erase the true stories of African Americans in this country.
This show isn't called Legends and Likeness, speaking to the people whose shoulders we stand on, or people whose shoulders we stand next to, the power of knowing your Black history. And without giving out any more information, because I don't want to have a spoiler alert, it opens with the speech that Trump made at the NAACP Image Awards when he talked about. That's what it opens with. So you know the direction. Yes, we presented Viola Davis, who in her own way is a freedom fighter, but we also have very contemporary. We have Charlamagne the God. We have Tamika Mallory. We have Melanie Campbell. We have Latasha Brown. We have Ron Moten, a local activist who really keeps people honest. I mean, we're looking across the board at our people, not only the people who went before us, but the people who are on the ground now fighting on that front line.
And that's it for this edition of The Hill with April Ryan. Come back next week, same time, where you'll see politics and news amplified. Peace.